But it was powerful enough. Yeah.
Ngiyababingelela abantwana abayingcwele. Sizovula ngesihlabelelo 60. Inkosi Nkosi ukuhlama kwebanzi. Bongani uJehova ngoba elungile umsa wakhe bongani uJehova ngoba elungile umsa wakhe uhlezi phakathi Asibonge. Amen. Angazi noma isizwakala kahle lena. Isihloko salenkonzo sithi Ubunazaretha Buyinkolo Kajehova.
Today's topic says that the Nazarene faith is a faith system of Yahweh.
Kuke kwaba khona omnye umuntu ku Facebook obuza ukuthi ngisho ngani ukuthi Ubunazaretha Buyinkolo Kajehova.
There was a person on Facebook who asked me, why do I say that the Nazarene faith belongs to Yahweh?
Ngicabanga ukuthi ngaphambi ukuthi ngiqhubeke nokunye angichaze lokho ukuthi ngisho ngani ukuthi Ubunazaretha Buyinkolo Kajehova.
I think that before I proceed to say other things, I should explain why I say that the Nazarene faith belongs to Yahweh.
Ukuze Ubunazaretha kube khona kwafika noma kwavuselelwa umprofeti Isaiah Shembe ukuthula kube kuye.
For the Nazarene faith to exist amongst us, it was revived by the prophet Isaiah Shembe.
Umprofeti wethu uthumekile wachaza ukuthi Ubunazaretha inkolo kaJehova kwachazwa kuye.
The prophet Isaiah Shembe, peace be upon him, explained that the Nazarene faith belongs to Yahweh.
Kuyivesi lokuqala emthandazweni okuvuka uthi umprofeti bandla elithobekileyo likamenzi wezulu nomhlaba sesiyamdumisa manje odunyiswa emisha yonke.
In the first verse of the liturgy or the morning prayer, the prophet says that holy congregation of the creator of the earth and the heavens, we have now gathered to praise the one who is praised eternally.
Nakuvesi lokuqala lomthandazo kulala uthi uShembe bandla elithobekileyo nelihloniphekayo likamenzi wezulu nomhlaba sesiyamdumisa manje odunyiswa emisha yonke.
And in the first verse of the liturgy of the night prayer, it says that a congregation, humble congregation of the respected creator of the heavens and earth, we have now gathered to start the prayer to worship the one who is worshipped eternally.
Nakwivesi lokuqala lomthandazo wesabatha uthi uShembe bandla elikhulu likamenzi wezulu nomhlaba sesingene ekuhlonipheni mina enkulu eyahlonishwa ubaba wethu umenzi wezulu nomhlaba eqedeni kwakhe ukwenza izulu nomhlaba nezinto zonke mdumiseni odumsekayo.
He also says that in the Shabbat prayer, great church of the creator of the heavens and the earth, we have now gathered to pay respect to the great day which was respected by our Father, who is the creator of the heavens and earth, when he had finished creating the heaven and the earth and everything that are in those.
Kuyo yonke lemthandazo emithathu uShembe usibiza ngebandla likamenzi welizulu nomhlaba okunguJehova.
In all these prayers, the prophet refers to us as the congregation of Yahweh, who is the creator of the heavens and earth.
Uthi ke uShembe lolu suku lwanamhlanje lweSabatha esesingene kulo lahlonishwa ubaba wethu umenzi wezulu nomhlaba. Ngakho ke asimdumise odumisekayo okubaba wethu umenzi wezulu nomhlaba okunguJehova.
The prophet says that this day, the Shabbat, which we have gathered to observe, was also observed by the creator of the heavens and the earth, and so therefore we should follow suit in that.
Ngakho ke ngokucacile akukho ukuthi siyakhumusha ukuthi siyibandla likaJehova, kodwa uyena umnikazi waleli bandla owathi leli bandla ngelikaJehova.
Evidently, therefore, it is not our interpretation that we should pay respect or observe this day, but it is the prophet who made it clear that this day is to be respected or observed because it was observed by the creator of the heaven and earth.
Ukuze singakhohlwa ilokhu ukuthi siyibandla likaJehova, ubaba mkhulu noma umprofeti wakubhala lokho emthandazweni wokuvuka esiwenza njalo masivuka, emthandazweni wokulala esiwenza njalo masilala, emthandazweni weSabatha esiwenza njalo every week, ukuthi esikhumbuze ukuthi siyibandla likamenzi wezulu nomhlaba, siyibandla likaJehova.
In order for us not to forget, in the liturgy of the Nazarites, which is inclusive of the morning, the evening, and the Shabbat prayer, the prophet constantly reminded us that we are the congregation of the Most High, which is Yahweh.
Okubalekile lapha ukuthi uma umprofeti esitshela ukuthi siyibandla likaJehova, akasho ukuthi siyibandla likaJehova nje, kodwa kumele ukuthi silandele izimfundiso zikaJehova ngoba siyibandla lakhe.
What is important, therefore, is that the prophet just does not end by telling us that we are the congregation of the Most High, but he tells us that we should also observe his laws because we are his congregation.
Verse 14 womthandazo wokulala uthi uShembe, uNkulunkulu onamandla onke yiswabo bonke abamkhonzayo lala nathi namhlanje usigcine ngomsa wakho.
In the 14th verse of the evening prayer, he says that great and he says that all powerful Lord, Father of all those who worship him, abide with us in this night's sleep and keep us with your mercy.
Uthi ke uShembe thina silibandla elikhonza uJehova. Ukubhalile lapha uJehova uyise wethu ngoba siyamkhonza.
The prophet has said that we are a congregation who worships God, and he has also wrote it down that he is our Father, for we worship him.
Ngikhumbula amazwi asho ingilosi mhla ifika kimi yathi ufunde ihlabelelo zamaNazaretha ngeke ukuthole ezihlabeleleni zamaNazaretha okuphambana nalokho okushiwo uNkulunkulu kwiBhayibheli.
I remember that the angel instructed me to constantly read the hymnals of the Nazarites, and she said that I will never find any contradiction between the hymnals of the Nazarites and what God has said in the Bible.
uShembe wenza ukuthi ma ungena kuleli bandla kube khona isivumelwano osenzayo akakho umuntu ongena kuleli bandla engenzi isivumelwano noJehova.
The prophet said that whenever you choose to be a member of this church, you must make a vow, and there is nobody who becomes a member of this church without making a vow with Yahweh.
Isivumelwano esisenzayo asisenzi noShembe, kodwa uShembe usifundisa ukuthi sisenze noJehova.
The vow that we make is not between us and the prophet, but it is between us and Yahweh.
uShembe akashonga ukuthi leli bandla ngelakhe wasifundisa ukuthi leli bandla ngelika Jehova.
The prophet did not say that this is his congregation, but he said that it is the congregation of Yahweh.
Kubalekile ukuthi lokhu sikwazi ukuthi leli bandla ngelika Jehova ngoba kuba nabantu abawuchithayo umthetho kaJehova bese bedumisa uShembe. Kodwa uShembe usifundise ukuthi sidumise uJehova. Ngisho ayithatha zonke ilokhuza onke ufunde lonke ihlabelelo zamaNazaretha uyofica uShembe ekhuluma ngoJehova.
It is important for us to understand this because some people resort to worshipping Shembe and dispute what Yahweh has said. Even if you were to take the whole hymnal of the Nazarites, you'll find that the prophet constantly refers to us as to worship Yahweh.
Kukhona isivumelwano esisenza noNkulunkulu esisifundiswe uShembe esitholakala kumthandazo wokuvuka, emthandazweni wokulala nasemthandazweni weSabatha. Lesi sivumelwano sisafana nalokhu ukutshelwa kwethu ukuthi siyibandla likaJehova.
There is a vow that the prophets wrote or inscribed for us in the liturgies of the Nazarites, which are inclusive of the morning, the evening, and the Shabbat prayer.
Othi-ke uShembe kuverse 11 umthandazo weSabatha, khumbula ukuthi namuhla wenze isivumelwano noJehova uNkulunkulu wakho so ukuthi uyohlala endlini kaJehova kuze kube sekupheleni kwensuku.
Remember that you have taken upon the vow that you shall forever live in the house of the Lord through all your days of being alive.
Ikhona uma umuntu ethi ufuna ukukholwa lapha bese sithi akaphakamisa isandla ethi ngiyayikhetha inkosi yasekuphakameni. Ngoba ngenkathi ephakamisa isandla ethi ngiyayikhetha inkosi yasekuphakameni usuke eseyikhunjuzwa ngalesi sivumelwano lesokuthi siyohlala sengizohlala endlini kaJehova kuze kube sekupheleni kwensuku zami.
That is why whenever a person wants to become a member of this church, we tell them that they should raise their hand and say that they choose to live under the vow of the Lord of Ekpagameni, because whenever that person does that, they are inevitably taking upon the vow that is written in the hymnal of the Nazarites.
Lesi sivumelwano esithi ngiyohlala endlini kaJehova kuze kube sekupheleni kwensuku zami.
The vow that says that I will live in the house of the Lord, I will live in the house of Yahweh until the end of my days.
Ukuthi ngiyohlala endlini kaJehova kuze kube sekupheleni kwensuku zami kuchaza ukuthi ngogcina imithetho kaJehova ngize ngife.
Saying that I will live in the house of the Lord until the end of my days means that I will observe the Lord's or Yahweh's commandments and laws until I die.
Ngakho-ke lezi zinto embili noma lezi inkulumo embili zibalekile kithi ukuthi sizazi. Okokuqala ukuthi siyibandla likaJehova. Okwesibili ukuthi siyohlala endlini kaJehova kuze kube sekupheleni kwensuku zethu.
It is therefore significant that we understand these two things. Firstly, that we are Jehovah's or we are Yahweh's congregation, and secondly, we shall live in the house of the Lord until the end of our days.
Ngoba ukuthi siyohlala endlini kaJehova kusho ukuthi uma usuphakamisa isandla uthi ngiyayikhetha inkosi yasekuphakameni usuthi ngiyogcina imithetho kaJehova ngize ngife.
Because saying that you will live in the house of Yahweh until the end of the day of your days, and taking upon the vow to be under the God of Ekpagameni means that you agree to live under the Lord's commandment until you die.
Kuhlabelelo 73 uShembe uthi idwala elihle lamaNazaretha owazikhethela lona uJehova ngokulithanda kwakhe.
In the 73rd hymnal, the prophet says that in the 3rd verse of it, he says, the beautiful rock of the Nazarites which Yahweh chose out of his own love.
Verse 4 uthi useze wahloba ngabo kathathu uJehova lobu Ubunazaretha phambi kwamazulu onke unyaka umunye.
And in the 4th verse of it, he says that he has adorned himself he has adorned himself with this Nazarite faith 3 times before all the heavens in 1 year.
Ngamanye amazwi njengoba ngichaza ethi uShembe uNkulunkulu thina maNazaretha sidwala elihle owazikhethela lona uJehova ngokuthanda kwakhe sikhethwe uJehova ngoba esithanda.
In other words, this verse, the 3rd verse, which says that we are a beautiful rock that Yahweh has chosen out of his own love, means that we are chosen by Yahweh, for he loves us.
Uthi ke uShembe uJehova useze wahloba kathathu ngathi ngaloku uNazaretha phambi kwamazulu onke unyaka umunye.
The prophet says that Yahweh has adorned himself 3 times with this Nazarite faith before all the heavens within 1 year.
Angwazi ukuthi amazulu mangaki.
I do not know how many heavens there are.
Kodwa uShembe lapha uthi uNkulunkulu uyayehlobe ngathi.
But the prophet says that Yahweh adorns himself with us.
Uma kuJanuary uNkulunkulu hloba ngathi.
During the month of January, Yahweh adorns himself with us.
Uma kuJuly uNkulunkulu hloba ngathi.
And he does the same in the month of July.
Uma kuOctober uNkulunkulu uhloba ngathi.
And in the month of October, he does the same.
Leli gama elithi uhloba ngathi lishenye into ngoba ukuhloba uma uzohloba uyawuthathe ingubo yakho ephambili uhlobe ngayo.
Saying that you adorn yourself with something means that you take on a chosen garment that belongs to you and wear it.
Ngaleyo ndlela ke kufanele sazi ukuthi siyingubo uJehova ohloba ngayo. Ngakho ke asibe abantu abangcwelisiwe abangcwele bakaJehova ngaso sonke isikhathi.
In that way, we must know that we are a garment or a robe that Yahweh uses to adorn himself. Therefore, we must always remain a people who are holy.
Asibe ngabantu ngaso sonke isikhathi esifuna umlomo wethu siusebenzise ukudumisa uJehova.
We must be people that forever seek to worship Yahweh with our lips.
Amehlo ethu ekhangwe yinto edumisa uJehova.
And our eyes must also be attracted by things that worship Yahweh.
Izindlebe zethu zilalele into edumisa uJehova.
And our ears must also listen to things that worship Yahweh.
Izandla zethu ziphathe into ethandwa uJehova.
And our hands must also partake in things that worship Yahweh.
Izinyawo zethu asihambele endaweni ethandwa uJehova.
Our feet must also take on paths that are liked by Yahweh.
Njengoba nilapha njena izinyawo zenu zisebenze ukuba niye endaweni ethandwa uJehova.
As you are gathered here, your feet have done the work of bringing you to a place that is loved by Yahweh.
Lokho kuchaza ukuthi uma ukhuluma kufanele uyibuze ukuthi lokho ukukhuluma engikuthandayo uma uJehova engilalele ngikhuluma uyakuthanda yena.
In that way, it means that whenever you speak, you must introspect whether what you are speaking will be loved by Yahweh.
Uma uhamba uyobuka into kufanele uyibuze ukuthi lento engiyibukayo engikhangile uJehova uyayithanda yini.
And whenever you go on to watch something, you must ask yourself whether what has attracted you, does God love that?
Lento engiyilalele uJehova uyayithanda yini.
And what I listening to is what I am listening to loved by Yahweh.
Lento engiyiphethe uJehova uyayithanda yini.
That which I am also carrying, is it loved by Yahweh?
Lapho engihambele khona uJehova uyakuthanda zikhona ni ingilosi ezingibhekile kule ndawo engihambela kuyo.
Does God also love the journeys which I have taken on?
Uma ke engqondweni yakho zonke lezi zinto uyibeka uyothola ukuthi ukude kabi nesono ngoba isono siyabaleka.
And if you keep these in your mind, you'll find that you always remain far from sin, for you are able to count your sins.
Ngoba uyakwazi ukuthi uthi kombe yipi into engiyikhulumele namhlanje na emcasula uJehova ngoba uyakwazi lokho.
Because you are able to backtrack as to what it is that you spoke which might anger Yahweh.
Yini engihambe ngayo ibuka kodwa mangiyibuka ngazi ukuthi uJehova lento engiyibuka akayithandi. Yipi leyo?
What is it that I watched knowing that Yahweh would not love that?
Yipi lento engithi mangifake ilokhu zama earphone ngiyilalele uJehova ejabulele. Yipi leyo nto?
What did I listen to when I had my earphones on that I know that God will rejoice over?
Yipi into engithi mangiyiphethe uJehova imchaze ngoba uyayazi into iphatha uJehova engayithandi.
What is it that I carry which Yahweh will rejoice over? Because you know what it is that Yahweh does not like.
Yipi le ndawo engihambela kuyo eyenza ukuthi uJehova ephatheke kabi?
Which parts have I taken on that will disappoint Yahweh?
On the whole, kuchaza ukuthi noma yini oyenzayo akube yinto ongathi uNkulunkulu ekubona uyenza ephatheke kabi ngayo.
Holistically, it means that you should make sure that whatever you do, God should not be disappointed in that.
Leyo nto ke yonke lento iphendula umbuzo ukuthi Ubunazaretha Buyinkolo Kajehova ngoba Ubunazaretha kwesaba ukwenza noma yini uJehova ongayithandi.
That answers the question. That answers the question that the Nazarite faith is a faith system of Yahweh. For the Nazarite faith shuns away from anything that Yahweh does not like.
NjengamaNazaretha kufanele nifunde ukuthi ungakwesabi ukuqondisa into oyibonayo ukuthi isiphambene nomthetho kaNkulunkulu.
As Nazarites, you should not be afraid to speak against anything that contradicts with the laws of Yahweh.
Ngoba uma ukuziba lokho uNkulunkulu yokubeka icala.
Because if you ignore that, then God will put you in transgression.
Njengoba silapha nje sonke simele ukuthi sifundise umhlaba ngokukhonza uJehova sonke.
As we are all gathered here, we have been yoked with the duty to teach the whole world as to how Yahweh is praised.
Nonke ningothisha, nonke ningabafundiswa abafundisa abantu ukukhonza uJehova. Nonke.
You are therefore all teachers and preachers in that respect.
Uma umuntu ezoba uthisha uyaye ecollege eyofundiswa ngesifundo ozosenza.
If a person is to become an educator, they enroll under a college so that they are trained as to how to teach.
Uma esephasile bese hamba eyofundisa.
And when they have graduated, they go on to teach.
Njengoba nilapha nje nise college nginifundisa ukuthi uma niphuma ngaphandle niyofundisana ngoNkulunkulu.
As you are gathered here, you are at a college, and I am teaching you what it is that you teach the world about God.
Nami ngaphambi kokuthi ngize kini ngifundisiwe kwehla ingilosi ezulwini yazongifundisa ukuthi lento yobungcwele ihamba kanjani ngifundisiwe.
Prior to coming before you, I was also taught by an angel which descended from heaven, so therefore I have been trained.
Kuyinto egcwele emhlabeni ukuthi uma ngabe uthi uqondisa indaba kaNkulunkulu bese kuqhamuka abantu bethi uyagxeka besho lokhu nalokho abanye bekuthuke ngazo zonke inhlanga bekuthukela nje ukuthi ubaqondisa ngendaba kaNkulunkulu.
It is common practice that whenever you teach the laws of God, people will come to you and say that you are being judgmental, and some of them go on to insult you just because you are teaching the laws of Yahweh.
Matthew 10 verse 28 nanga amazwi kaYeshua. Matthew 10 verse 28.
In the book of Matthew 10 verses 28, these are the words of Yeshua.
Ningabesabe ababulala umzimba benganamandla okubulala umphefumulo. Kepha mesabeni kakhulu onamandla okubhubhisa nomphefumulo kanye nomzimba esihogweni.
Do not be afraid of those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul. Rather, be afraid of the one who can destroy both soul and body in hell.
Kubalekile ukuthi njengamanazaretha sazi ukuthi uma sishumayela abantu bazosithuka ngayo yonke inhlaka.
It is imperative for us as Nazareth to know that whenever we go out to proclaim the good news, people will insult us.
Ukuthi bagcina ngokusithuka bayakuzama nokuthi besibulale.
Not only will they end with insulting us, but they also try to kill us.
Kodwa uNkulunkulu uyayisivikela.
But God always protects us.
Baningi abantu engeke ngibezwe bethi ngiyathanda ukuya kuleli yasonto kodwa ngesaba abantu besonto lami ngoba uma ngase ngenze lento bazobulala.
There are many people whom I hear saying that they would like to join with us in this congregation, but they say that they are fearful of their congregants who might go on to kill them if they would join us.
Kodwa uma ngabe ekholweni usasaba umuntu kusho ukuthi usuke ungakakwazi ukukholwa ukuthi uhamba kanjani.
But if you still fear man in this belief system, then you do not have a stand.
Ngoba lapha uYeshua uthi singamesaba umuntu ngisho ngabe ezosibulala kodwa akasesabe umuntu ozobulala isidumbu sakho bese ebulala nomphefumulo wakho.
Because Yeshua here says that we should not fear man, but we should fear the one who has the ability to kill your physical body and kill your soul.
uNkulunkulu ke lo.
That is God.
Ngakho ke ngiyabatshela abantu abangakafiki lenkonzo kodwa sebekhona ngeinhliziyo ukuthi ungabesaba abantu uma sekufanele ukuthi ukhohlwa umuntu ngisho umama wakho noma ubaba wakho noma udade wakho khohlwa umuntu.
So therefore I am announcing it to people who would like to join us, who have already joined us with their hearts, that you should not fear any person, be it your mother, your father, or anybody else. You should forget about that person.
Ngoba ukukholwa kwethu kungomphefumulo wethu.
Because our belief system of believing pertains our souls.
Uma ngabe ungakholwa kuleli bandla ngeke uthi ma ufa bese uyongena kuleli bandla likaJehova ngeke ngoba ubungakholiwe khona.
If in this life you are not part of Yahweh's congregation, you will not then die and go on to become part of us, because you are not part of us whilst alive.
Kodwa uma ukholiwe lapho okhona abangani bakho nabantu bakini abakwazi ukuthi phuma ezulwini uze ezulwini lomndeni ngeke bekusho lokho.
But if you are a believer, your parents or relatives or friends cannot then instruct you to come out of heaven. They cannot say that.
Siyesikhethele ukuthi sifuna ukuya kuliphi izulu sikhethe lokho sela emhlabeni.
We are the ones who choose as to which heaven we want to go to, and we take upon that choice whilst we are here on earth.
Kodwa uma singakwenzi lokho siyithola sesisezulwini lomndeni esikhundleni sokuba sibe sezulwini likaNkulunkulu.
But if we do not do that, you will end up finding yourself with your ancestors instead of being in heaven with Yahweh.
Ushambe ngenkathi elapha wayifundisa futhi mayifundise ngesabe umuntu into ephambene noNkulunkulu eyisho njengoba injalo.
Whilst he was here, the prophet did not fear teaching, and he would go on to teach anything without the fear of anybody, and he would teach everything as God has instructed him to.
Ushambe uthi abagunda amakhanda abo bewazungeze emaceleni bephula umthetho kaNkulunkulu.
And the prophet says that those who shave their heads on their sides are breaking the law of God.
Bonke abantu namhlanje ubathola begundela emaceleni bezungeza amacaleni bese beshiyinwele ngaphezulu bephula umthetho kaNkulunkulu.
And it is common practice today to find many people shaving their heads on their sides, and they are breaking the law of God.
Noma bengabeka siphi isizathu kodwa baphula umthetho kaNkulunkulu. Umanje ugunda inwele noma uphucula ikhanda noma ugunda emaceleni uphula umthetho kaNkulunkulu ngoba uthe uNkulunkulu singakwenzi.
Despite any reason that they might come up with, they are breaking the law of God because God has instructed us not to do that.
Kulevi 19 verse 27 ushembe uNkulunkulu uthi aniyukudilinga amakhanda enu emaceleni ungoni isilevu sakho emaceleni. That is Levi 19 verse 27.
In the book of Leviticus chapter 19 verses 27, God says, do not cut the hair at the sides of your head or clip off the edges of your beard.
Ngamanye amazwi lesihlabelelo lesi sisifundisa ngoMathewu ngoLevi 19 verse 27 ukuthi uNkulunkulu uthena singawagunda amakhanda ukuthi siwadinge emacaleni. Kusho uNkulunkulu ushembe usifundisa ngento eshiwo uNkulunkulu.
In other words, this hymn here teaches us about what has been written in the book of Leviticus, because the prophet taught us about Yahweh.
Kulesi hlabelelo futhi uthi ushembe singangene icathulo ethempelini ngoba ithempeli indawo kaNkulunkulu.
In this very same hymn, the prophet says that we should not come into the temple of God wearing shoes, because it is the holy place of Yahweh.
Njengoba sisethempeli nje singayifakile icathulo kungenxa yokuthi uNkulunkulu uthena singayifaki. Ushembe wasifundisa ngendaba ukuthi uNkulunkulu uthini.
As we are gathered in this temple and have no shoes on, it is because the prophet has taught us that Yahweh should, what Yahweh said.
Go Exodus 3 verse 4 to 5 nanga amazwi kaNkulunkulu.
In the book of Exodus 3 verses 4 to 5, these are the words of God.
uNkulunkulu esebona ukuthi uyaphambuka ukuyobuka esho uMoshe. uNkulunkulu wamiza ephakathi kwehlahla wathi Moses wathi ngilapha. Wayesethi ungasondeli lapha, khumula izicathulo zakho ezinyaweni ngokuba indawo omi kuyo ingumhlabathi ongcwele.
In the book of Exodus 3 verses 4 to 5, it says, when the Lord saw that Moshe was coming closer, he called to him from the middle of the bush and said, Moshe, Moshe. He answered, yes, here I am. God said, do not come any closer, take off your sandals, because you are standing on holy ground.
Ngakho ke uma ethi ushembe asingangeni necathulo ethempelini akakususe akukhambi kuye. Kusho uNkulunkulu ukuthi leli ibandla ngoba kuyibandla lami angeke likwenze lokhu nalokhu nalokhu engithena mina ngifuna ukwenziwa.
So when the prophet says that we should not wear shoes whilst in the temple of Yahweh, it is not something that comes from him, but it is something that has been said by Yahweh.
Ngakho ke kubalekile ukuthi noma yini esiyenzayo noma masithola ehlabelelweni usuke ushembe ekuthathe eBhayibhelini kukhulunywa uNkulunkulu ngabaprofeti.
It is significant, therefore, to understand that whatever we find in the hymnals of the Nazarites, that which has been said by the prophet comes from the Bible, and it was said by Yahweh through the prophets.
Njengoba yasho ingilosi kimi yaqinisa ngokuthi noma yini ebhalwe ehlabeleni ngeke uzuyithole iphambana nebhalwe eBhayibhelini. Yakhulunywa uNkulunkulu.
The angel said with much emphasis that whatever I find in the hymnal of the Nazarites will not contradict anything that is in the Bible which has been spoken by God.
Kodwa wena uma usushumayela uthi ungagundi bese ethi umuntu uyaxeka ngoba nakho yena uyagunda ugunda inwele zakhe yilokhu zemaceleni bese ethi uyaxeka kodwa ubekiwe ukuthi mtshele umuntu ukuthi ukugunda kanjena kuyisono uNkulunkulu akakufuni.
And when you go on to tell a person that they should not shave their heads, they say that you are judgmental, but you have been instructed to tell them that they should not do that for God does not like that.
Ngoba uma ungakusho kunabantu abakholwayo abazokholwa enkonzweni benze into eyisinengiso kaNkulunkulu ngoba wena ungabatshelanga ukuthi lento iyisinengiso.
Because if you do that, there are people who are going to become believers and they will do those detestable acts because you did not tell them that it is detestable before God.
Ngoba uma ungayichazi lento kuneyingane eziningi ezikhulayo zizoyenza lento ecabanga ukuthi iyona ndlela lena kanti abazali bayo bayenzisa into ephambene noNkulunkulu.
For if you do not explain these things, there are children who are growing up and will grow up knowing that that is the way, whilst their parents are the ones who did not teach them that that is not the way of God.
Namhlanje na kuneyingane zamantombazana ezalwayo ziseyikhule zingakaze zisifake isketi zifaka amabhuku and azazi ukuthi isona.
Today there are girl children who grow up wearing pants, but they do not know that wearing pants is forbidden.
Ezinye zithi ikhula zibe zigunda amakhanda emaceleni azazi zona ukuthi isona leso.
Some of them grow up shaving the sides of their heads and they do not know that is a sin.
Ezinye zikhula zingabanazi inwele iphucula amakhanda azazi ukuthi isona.
Some of them shave their heads totally and they do not know that is sinful.
Ngakho ke kubalekile ukuthi thina lezi zinto siziveze ngoba bakhona abantwana abazokhula bethanda ukukholwa kodwa besethi umuntu angaze mina ngingalifaki ibhulu ekusho intombazana and ishiqinisile ngoba ayitshelwanga abazali ba ukuthi ukufaka ibhulu kuyisona.
Therefore it is up to us to make these things known, for there are children who are going to grow up and take upon the love of becoming believers, and they will go on to do these transgressions whilst being believers, and they will say that they were not told that these are detestable, and they would be right in saying that.
Kuneyingane ezincane ngiyibone zincane impela nje zino 6 years zigunde emaceleni zikhula nakho lokho ayikaze etshela abazali bakho ukuthi lento oyenzayo uNkulunkulu akayifuni abakwazi.
There are children young as 6 years old which I see shaving their heads or their heads shaved at the sides of their heads, and they grow up knowing that is correct, and they are true in saying that because they were not taught by their parents.
Ngakho ke kubalekile ukuthi siwakhulume onke amaqiniso ngoNkulunkulu ukuze abantu abafuna abakhetha ukuya ezulwini likaNkulunkulu beyikhethele sebazi ukuthi lokhu uNkulunkulu akakufuni lokhu uNkulunkulu uyakuthanda.
So it is important for us to speak about all the truths when it comes to the issues of God's law, so that whenever a person chooses to become a believer, they are of the understanding that this is detestable before the Lord, and this is loved by God.
Uma abantu bengamhloniphi uNkulunkulu, uNkulunkulu uyababulala.
If people do not pay respect to God, then God kills them.
Namhlanje na kunesifo kuthiwa i-coronavirus, isifo esigcwele umhlaba wonke.
Today there is a pandemic which has spread all over the world, which is known as the coronavirus.
Lesi sifo sibe se-Europe sababhubhisa bonke abantu abaningi abase-Europe kodwa lapha e-Afrika sabancane kakhulu.
This pandemic struck down many people in Europe as compared to the numbers in Africa.
And abantu abanganendaba noNkulunkulu abantu base-Europe.
And the people who do not care most about God are the people from Europe.
Kodwa la e-Afrika abantu abathathe isitayela sase-Europe kuse-South Africa.
But in here in Africa, people who have mimicked the lifestyle of the Europeans are the South Africans.
La e-South Africa kube ne-constitution evumela ukuba abantu benze horrible things engakaze icabanga ukuthi zingenziwa abantu abamnyama kodwa la eSouth Africa siyazenza.
Here in South Africa, there is a constitution which allows people to do horrible things that one could never imagined as being done by Africans.
Le constitution lena okuthiwa i-democracy evumela noma yonke into abantu base South Africa bayithathe e-Europe.
This democratic constitution which allows people to do anything, the South Africans have taken it from the Europeans.
Ngokuthatha imkhuba yase-Europe siyenze ibe umthetho, i-South Africa uNkulunkulu usukile kuyo.
By taking on the customs of the Europeans and making them a constitution, God has then forsaken us.
Ngithema ngibuka idata yabantu abafile. Ngathola eNigeria kusafa abantu aba-150.
When I checked the numbers of the people who have died from this pandemic, I found out that there are only 150 people who have died in Nigeria.
In Nigeria, inabantu abako 300 million.
Nigeria has people which amount to about 300 million.
In Nigeria, ngokwe radius incane kakhulu kune South Africa.
Nigeria's radius is much smaller than South Africa's.
Kodwa awuqondi ukuthi njengoba la eSouth Africa manje sesinabantu aba-45,000 asebefile. Yini eyenza ukuthi eSouth Africa abantu befe kanjena befane nabase-Europe kunase-Nigeria?
But you do not understand how is it that here in South Africa we have 45,000 people who have died, and those numbers are increasing as is in Europeans as compared to the Nigerians.
Lokho kwenziwa ukuthi iSouth Africa ayisayirigadi njenge-African state, isibuka ifana nama-European states, yenza noma yini eyisinengi sonkulunkulu.
That is because the South African country does not regard itself as belonging under the other African countries, but it thinks that it is now under the European countries.
Ngicabanga ukuthi kumazwe onke izwe eline-constitution yokuthi akukhishwe izisu kula eSouth Africa.
I think that South Africa is one of the countries that has allowed the abortion of children.
I mean, la eSouth Africa angithi e-Africa angikhumbuli kunezwe elivume i-abortion ngaphandle kwase-South Africa.
I do not recall there being any other country in Africa which allows for abortion apart from South Africa.
Angikhumbuli ukuthi khona izwe lase-Africa elivuma ongqingili ngaphandle kwala eSouth Africa.
I do not recall there being any country in Africa that allows homosexuality apart from here in South Africa.
Ziningabi izinto ezenzeka la eSouth Africa ngegunya lokuthi siyi-democratic country. Kodwa le democratic country evumela ukwenza izinto ezisiningi sonkulunkulu.
There are many things that we are doing as South Africans under the authority that we are a democratic country, but in doing so we do things that are detestable to God.
So akubangalisi ukuthi uthole ukuthi la eSouth Africa kuphela sekunabantu aba-45,000 abafile. Kodwa kuwo wonke amazwe ase-Africa ngisho o-Nigeria okungamazwe amakhulu nge-population are densely populated. Kodwa khona uthola ukuthi abantu asebefile basa-150.
So therefore it's not surprising to find that here in South Africa there are 45,000 people who have died from this pandemic, yet in countries like Nigeria, which is densely populated, you only find 100 and something people.
Uzothi wena kwenziwa yini ukuthi la eSouth Africa lesi sifo sibe lula ukubulala abantu kodwa kwamanye amazwe ase-Africa singabalula ukubulala abantu?
What reason will you give for this pandemic to spread widely like a wildfire here in South Africa, but in other African states that is not happening.
Uma ngabe ukhonza uNkulunkulu sekufika isikhathi esibi uNkulunkulu uyakuvikela kuleyo nto.
If you worship God and there befalls on you a terrible time, God will protect you from that.
Kumthandazo wokulala uverse 16 uNkulunkulu ukhuluma lamazwi.
In the 16th verse of the evening prayer, God spoke these words.
Ngezinsuku zonke zokuphila kwakho uma ulala ubomkhonza uJehova uNkulunkulu wakho uThixo wakho. Ngosuku lwenhlupheko umbize uyakukulalela uyakuza akusindise uma uyendlala ngesikhathi zonke inhliziyo yakhe emkhondweni yezimemezelo zezwi lakhe.
In all the days of your life, if you worship Yahweh, who is your God, in the day of poverty, you must call upon him. He will listen to you. He will come and save you if you lay down your heart to keep and abide by the announcements of his laws.
Hayi ngosuku lwendlala ngosuku lokuhlupheka.
In the day of poverty,
lokuhlupheka losizi,
of sorrow.
yes. Uthi ke uNkulunkulu uma ngaso sonke isikhathi uthandaza umdumisa kuyothi ngosuku lwenhlupheko uma umbiza awulalele umthandazo wakho awemukele umnikelo wakho.
The prophet says here that if you keep the commandments of Yahweh on the day of sorrow, when you call upon God, he shall listen to you and receive your prayers and your offerings.
Leli verse leli akulona nje iverse olukhuluma nje kodwa kune proof yokuthi uma ngabe uhamba ngendlela kaNkulunkulu uma usuvelelwa ngokubi uNkulunkulu uyakusiza.
This is not a verse that is just randomly recited, but it is evidence that if you abide by the laws of Yahweh, God comes in and assists you when you need assistance.
Ngoba esho uShembe ethi uJehova uyise wabamkhonzayo.
As the prophet has said that Yahweh is the father of all those who worship him.
Ngijwayele ukusho ukuthi ekuqaleni kwa-2020 ingilosi yafika yathi kuza isifo esibi ngakho ke celani kuJehova ukuthi anisindise kulesi sifo.
I usually tell you that at the beginning of the year 2020, the angel came to us and told us that a terrible disease is coming. So therefore ask of God to save you from this disease.
Nempela sacela uNkulunkulu ukuthi asindise kulesi sifo.
And indeed, we asked of God to save us from this disease.
Ngoba kwase kuzikhathi zosizi kuzikhathi lapho esingafa noma yinini ngoba bonke abantu bayafa.
For those were the times of sorrow for us, a time when anybody could die, for everyone is destined to die.
Kodwa lokho sabakhona lesi sifo nelilodwa ilunga laleli bandla eselike labulawa i-coronavirus. Not one siyababona abantu befa ngapha nangapha sikaze sife.
But since this pandemic started, there is not even a single member from this congregation who has passed on due to it, but we see people from side to side passing away or dying from this disease.
Ingilosi ifikile yathi asicele futhi nango-2021 ukuthi singafi sibulawa yilesi sifo asingafi.
The angel came to us again and said that we must ask of God that we should not die from this disease.
Mina ngiyakholwa ukuthi ngeke sife ngoba ngibonile singafi unyaka wonke abantu befa yonke ngisho emabandleni nakuphi abantu bafa beginqika kodwa kuleli ibandla sikaze sife ngoba sacela kuJehova ukuthi singafi sacela kuJehova hayi komunye umuntu.
I believe that we will not succumb to this disease because I saw it happening in the year 2020 whilst other people were losing their congregants, and we will indeed not die because we have asked of that from God.
Kufanele uyibuze ukuthi uma uNkulunkulu wakwazi ukuba evikele oShadrach noMeshach noAbednego esithandweni somlilo bengene umlilo uvutha kodwa betholakala sebehamba noNkulunkulu phakathi kwabo, mina lo uNkulunkulu engengenzele ngani leyo nto ngoba nami ngiyamkhonza njengoShadrach noMeshach noAbednego.
You must ask yourself that if God was able to save Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego from the pits of fire, how is it that he will not be able to protect you, for you are worshipping the same God?
Hayi ukuthi ukuphila noma usinda koShadrach noMeshach kwakumlilo, kodwa bathi mangabe bengeniswa esigodini benikezwa inyama ezinhle, ingulube nanani, bathi cha kasukudli lokho, bathi phone izodlani, bathi sizokudla imfino.
Them being saved was not a magical instant, but it was because when they were given great meat to consume, they refused and said that they will live through plants.
Kwathi makufika isikhathi sokuthi kuthiwa abaguqela isithombe bathi thina sinoNkulunkulu ophilayo, angeke thina siguqele isithombe.
And when a time came for them to bow before an idol, they refused and said that they serve a living God.
Kodwa uNkulunkulu ebona ukukholwa kwabo, kwathi noma sebefakwa esithandweni somlilo abaze basha.
But because God had seen their faith, even though they were put in the pit of fire, the fire did not consume them.
No Daniel kwabanjalo, wathi mayinqaba ukukhonza isithombe bamfaka emphandweni wezingonyama, zangamudla.
The same happened with Daniel, that when they put him with lions, the lions did not eat him.
Mina ngeke ngisho njalo ke ngithi Nkosi, ikuphi engikwenzile mina ongenziwanga ngoDaniel, ongenziwanga ngoShadrach, ngoba nami ngigcina umthetho wakho njengoba ngifundisiwe ukuthi ngokho.
And that is what I always say. I say, God, what is it that I have not done which Shadrach and Daniel did? For I also observe your law as they did.
Uthi uNkulunkulu ungesabi noma uhamba esigodini sosizi lokufa, ungesabi ngoba unami.
And God says that do not fear, even when you journey in the valley of the shadow of death, do not fear, for I am with you.
Nathi sonke lapha kasisho njalo sithi noma sisesigodini sosizi lokufa sibona bonke abantu befa, kodwa masingesabi, masimethembe lona esimbiza zonke insuku onguJehova ukuthi uzosivikela kho konke lokhu.
And that is what we must also say, that even though we journey in the valley of the shadow of death, we do not fear, for we are with the God who saved Daniel and Shadrach.
Kufanele umhlaba ubone ngathi ukuthi uNkulunkulu onguJehova ukhona, hayi ukuthi wagcina abantwana bakwaIsrael, kodwa ukhona naphakathi kwethu uma ngabe sigcina imithetho yakhe, ukhona uhamba.
The whole world must see from us that God still exists. He did not cease his existence during the era of the children of Israel, but he is still amongst us if we obey his laws.
Ngisho lokho ukuthi asiqini sazi ukuthi sinebusisi.
And that is what I'm saying, that we must be strong and know that we are blessed.
Yelizwile Nkosi njalo shema uthi izwi lenkosi selifikile kithi.
That is what the prophet says. He says that the word of the king has arrived amongst us.
Ngakho ke asilemukele ngeinhliziyo ezimhlophe.
Therefore we should receive it with pure hearts.
Izwi lenkosi umthetho kaNkulunkulu.
The word of God is his laws, are his laws.
Njengoba kuumthetho kaNkulunkulu njena asithi masiugcina siugcine ngothando.
As it is the law of God, we must keep or observe the laws of God with great love.
Uthi uYeshua ukugcina umthetho kaNkulunkulu uqonda ukuthi ukuba uNkulunkulu umthande ngenhliziyo yakho yonke nangomoya wakho wonke. Yonke into yakho ibe uthando kuNkulunkulu.
Yeshua says that keeping the laws of God is to love God with all your heart, your mind, and your body.
Uma wenze njalo ke uNkulunkulu uyothi makufika isikhathi esifana nalesi uNkulunkulu ebeseduze.
If you do that and you come across such times, God will be near you.
Kuyinto engakholakali bantwana basekuphakameni ukuthi sithe masicela ukuthi uNkulunkulu kasingafi. Phezulu kwabantu abangaka befa sangafa.
Amen. It is something wonderful, children of Pagameni, that when we asked of God to not die amidst this pandemic, whilst so many people died, we did not die indeed.
Lokhu inglosi yakusho kungakafi abantu sakuthatha kancane nje sanikela ngoba sithe inglosi asinikela kanti ngempela kuyabhula.
The angel announced this even before people started dying, but we did not take it seriously, yet it was something that was to become a great pandemic.
Njengoba ngisho inglosi yafika ekupheleni konyaka yathi niyakhumbula yini ukuthi njengoba ningafi njena nacela kuJehova ukuthi ningafi. Niyakhumbula lokho.
As I said, the angel at the end of the year came to us and asked us if we remember that we asked of God at the start of the year that we should not die.
Yayisithi ke inglosi uma ucela into uNkulunkulu ekwenzele lona uboyibonga bomdumisa njengoba senza nje sidumisa uNkulunkulu ukuthi sithe masicela ukuthi siphile saphila.
And she went on to say that if you have asked of something from God and God does that, you should give thanks and worship God, and that is what we are doing.
Nangalonyaka sizophila.
And even in this year we will still live.
Ngoba sikhonza uNkulunkulu umdali wezulu nomhlaba. uNkulunkulu ongefaniswa naNkulunkulu emhlabeni nasezulwini.
Because we worship a God who is the creator of the heavens and the earth, who can never be likened to any God here on earth and in heaven.
Siyambonga ubaba ilanga ukuthi wathuma inglosi ukuthi izosifundisa lento abantu abaningi abangayazi.
We give thanks to Shemba II, for he sent to us an angel to teach us about things that are unknown to man.
Siyayibonga inglosi ukuthi ithena mayithunywa yavuma yayinikela ukuthi ifundise le ndaba kaNkulunkulu.
We also give thanks to the angel, for when she was sent to do what she was sent, she did that wholeheartedly and taught us about the great news of God.
Kuliphupho uma ngicabanga isimo esesikusona manje bese ngibheke emuva ukuthi sihlaselwe kanjani sihlaselelelwa ukuthi sakhe lento sakhelele ibandla.
It is a dream to me when I look at the condition that this congregation is in as compared to the time that we come from when we experienced attacks from people.
Sabizwa ngazo zonke izinto kakhulukazi amaNazaretha sithuka kodwa inglosi ibithi mayingithola mhlawumbe ingithole sengikhala ngoba nawo bebeyithuka kodwa yona ngiyithole kungekukhathaza ke ithi thula nje kuzokwedlula konke.
we experienced great insults, and the angel would find me crying at times. She was also insulted, but she remained strong, and she would tell me that just keep quiet, all this will pass by.
Angaze ngizwe ingilosi ithi laba abantu bangithuka kanje ngizobenza ukuthi nokuthi ayikhuluma inhlobo ngokuthukwa kwayo.
I have never heard the angel talking about how people are insulting her. She does not speak about that.
Kodwa uma ekuyabona mina nomkhokheli siphatheke kabi iyayifika esiduduza.
But whenever she sees that I or the counselor have been insulted, she comes to us and comforts us.
Uma isithola sigula ithi hambani thathani umnikelo nocela kubaba ukuphila nizophila.
And when she finds us sick, she says that we should take on an offering and give it before God, and we will be alive, we'll heal.
Noma yipi into eyinkinga esibhekana nayo ifika ingilosi ilokuza isiduduza ukuthi hayi lokhu kuyedlula.
Whatever problem we face, the angel comes to comfort us and tells us this will pass.
And wedlula.
And it comes to pass.
Ngakho ke asikwazi ukuthi singabongi ngoba lesi simo esibhekene naso thina asikaze sibe khona emhlabeni. Sagcina kubantwana bakwaIsrael ukuthi bevakashelwe ingilosi zohlala nabo. Akwenzeki manje.
Therefore, we cannot give thanks for the situation or condition that we are in. Only ended with the children of Israel, that they find themselves having an angel living in their midst.
Ngike ngithi mangihleli phansi kwesisikhathi ngifikelwe zinyembezi ngiyibuza ukuthi uNkulunkulu wayiboneni kimi ukuze ebone ukuthi ngifanele ukuthi ngihlale nengilosi. Wayiboneni kimi?
When I am sometimes sitting, I find myself full of tears, and I ask myself what it is that God identified in me, that he saw me worth to live with an angel.
Angeke nikholwe into esisenzele thina esisenzele yona ingilosi njoba sila.
You will not believe the things that the angel has done for us as we stand before him.
Lo muzi esihleli kuwo sawufunelwa ingilosi.
The house that we live in, the angel searched it for us.
Yaqale yangibuza ukuthi ngifuna umuzi onjani. Ngathi mina ngifuna umuzi westairs kodwa anginayo imali. Yathi ingilosi angibuzanga ukuthi unayo imali, ngibuza ukuthi wena ufuna umuzi onjani.
She firstly asked me what kind of a house I wanted, and I told her that I wanted a house that had 2 stories, and I said that but I do not have money to afford it. And she said that I did not ask you if you could afford it, I asked you what kind of a house you wanted.
Yes, it hamba ufune yonke imizi enjalo uzoyithola uNkulunkulu uzokunika.
And she said to me that you must go out and look for houses that are like that. You will find it and God will give it to you.
Mhla ngithola lo muzi ngafica kugcwele bonke abantu lapha ngoba lo muzi wawuyibhageni u700,000 umuzi ofanele ngabe ko2 million u700,000.
When I came to see this house, there were many people who were here, for it was a bargain for it to be 700,000 rands, whilst it was valued at around 2 million.
Kwathi ma abantu begcwele lapha ilokhuza lomlungu ayidayisa lomlungu wavela wakhomba mina wathi nanga umuntu engifunayo.
Though there were many people who were gathered here, when this white man who was selling this house came out, he just pointed to me and said that this is the person I want to sell the house to.
Omunye umuntu owayehlala ngapha eduze nje kwalapha sathi sehleli lapha weza wathi kwenzeke kanjani ngoba bengifuna izindlu ukuthi le ndlu ngingayiboni ngihlale ngidlula lapha izizothathwa yini.
And a person who resides next to me asked me how is it that he did not see this house, for he would also pass by here and he did not see this house put up for sale.
Ukuthenga lo muzi nganginikezwe ilokhuza inyanga ezintathu zaphela lezi inyanga ezintathu ngingenayo imali ukuba ngikhokhele.
I was given a period of 3 months to pay for this house, but those 3 months came to pass without me having paid.
Sinonkulunkulu esimakhalisi.
We have a great God amongst us.
Ngangisebenza eMsinga. Kwavele kwafika ingilosi. Yafikela kumkhokheli nalomfana umfana lo ode hlala naye. Yafika esitolo. Yangena elokhuzeni esitolo kugcwele abantu.
I was at Umsinga when the angel came to the counselor and the young boy that lived with her, and she came to them whilst they were at a store in the midst of people.
Yathi mayingena esitolo yaguqa. Bonke abantu besaba. Bathi uqhamuka lo muntu nje.
And when she walked into the store, she knelt down, and people became fearful and they wondered where this person came from.
Bathi indodakazi kaShembe. Wathi umkhokheli yebo indodakazi kaShembe.
And they asked the counselor, is this person a daughter of Shembe? And she said, yes, she is.
Babuza abantu bathi uzalwa nguphi uShembe kulaba bantu.
And then she asked, and then people asked her, which Shembe is she the daughter of?
Wathi umkhokheli izalwa ngoShembe.
And the counselor replied by saying that she is the daughter of all the Shembes.
Umkhokheli ufast ke kucabanga.
She is a fast thinker.
Sake sathi sihleli lapha elokhuzene efletini eduze kolwandle. Ingilosi ithane ihlale iqhamuka ifika lapha. Kanti ithi mayifika ihambe ngenyawo.
The angel would come to us when we lived by a flat near the sea, and she would occasionally visit us and she would walk.
Kwakunamantombazane esesiwajwayela asebenza khona lapha. Sathi sithi siyaphuma nomkhokheli. Athi lamantombazane hawu. Anwena kade edlula khona manje. Usuqhamuka futhi ngami.
There were 2 girls which we knew who worked at that flat, and then when the counselor and I passed by, they were surprised and asked us, how is it that you are coming back again whilst we've just seen you walking past us?
Bathi umkhokheli hayi ukuthi khona udadewethu esingama identical twins. Ngingayimina bekuyena lo.
And then she said that, no, I have a sister who is an identical twin to me. It was not me.
Ngalesikhathi lamantombazane eshalapha vele wayekade ulokhuza unkosazana elapha elokhuzene efletini ezekithi.
As these 2 ladies spoke this, the maiden was in the flat to visit us.
Ngabona ukuthi kwesinye isikhathi mhlawumbe ungathi ubona umkhokheli kanti sekukanti akuseyena sekuhlelo ukuhlaleleni.
Then I realized that at times you might think that you are still seeing the counselor, but it is not her, it is the angel.
Mina ngisho lokho ngoba kwasha amakhosi amantombazane asebenza lapha athi ngoba kade wedlula manje na usuqhamukaphi futhi ngemuva.
I say that because these 2 ladies asked us, how is it that you have come back again here, for we have just seen you pass by.
Ngenkathi sesedlula lamantombazane umkhokheli esechaze lokho athula kodwa wabona ukuthi athula akayikholwa lento ekhulunywa umkhokheli.
And when she had explained that to them, they kept quiet, but you could see that they do not believe what is being said.
Ngakho ke kwesinye isikhathi ungacabanga ukuthi usakhuluma umkhokheli kanti akuseyena.
So sometimes you might think that you are still speaking to the counselor, but it is not her.
Nami yaka kusho kimi lokho yathi kwesinye isikhathi ungamangali kwesinye isikhathi ungacabanga ukuthi ubona umkhokheli kanti sekuyimina.
She also said that to me, that at times, do not be surprised, for at times you will think that you are seeing the counselor, but it will not be her, it will be me.
Bengikhuluma indaba kwaNongoma ukuthi ingilosi yafika yaguqa phansi esitolo phakathi esitolo. Abantu bahlehla bonke babuza ukuthi uqhamukaphi lo muntu. Bebona umuntu omuhle.
I was speaking about what happened at Umsinga when the angel walked into the store and knelt down, and everyone was surprised, for they had seen someone so beautiful.
Bebona umuntu intombi evela ifike nje phakathi elokhuzeni iguqe.
A maiden who just comes into the store and kneels.
Ngoba ingilosi ngaso sonke isikhathi mayikhuluma nawe ifike iguqe.
because whenever the angel speaks to you, she kneels.
Yafika yathi kumkhokheli tshela umvangeli ukuthi le yandlu ubaba Ilangu seyisayinile ukuthi ngeyakhe ngakho ke akakho omunye umuntu ozoyithatha ingeyakho seyisayinile ubaba yenzela uzomtshela lokho.
So, and the angel told the counselor that tell the evangelist that Shembe has signed down that that house belongs to him. Therefore, because he has signed, nobody else will get it.
Ngalolo suku ngase ngiphethwe iBPE phezulu ngibuka ukuthi am I losing le ndlu lena yakhuphuka iBP yabaphezulu kodwa yafika ingilosi hamba umtshela umvangeli ukuthi le ndlu lena ngeyakhe ubaba Ilangu sesayinile ukuthi ngeyakhe.
On that day, I was overwhelmed by my high blood pressure, and I had been worried that I would lose this house. But the angel came and said that she must tell me that Shembe II has signed that this house belongs to him.
Kwathi khona lapho umkhokheli sengitshelile kwangena ucingo lalomlungu wathi right ngiyazi ukuthi awukhokhile kodwa hamba uyongena endlini uyokhokha ngesikhathi esifanele uma ukhokhe njena indaba yamanzi kwanele hamba uyongena uyohlala khona endlini.
At that very same instance, I received a phone call from this white man saying that I could go and live in the house despite me having not paid. He said that I should though pay for the water bills.
Ngahlala kulomuzi inyanga ezintathu ngakhokhile ngabuzwa lutho ngoba isifikile ingilosi yathi ubaba Ilangu sesayinile ukuthi le ndlu ngeyakho.
I lived in this house for a full 3 months without paying anything, for the angel had came and told me that Shembe II had signed that this house becomes mine.
Hey bantwana basekuphameni sihlala uNkulunkulu sibonisa izinto ezisizwe.
Amen.
Children of Phakameni, God has shown us wondrous things.
Ngake ngakhuluma ukuthi ngilapha neflatini ngangenayo imali yokukhokhela irent. Singanamali nhlobo. Yafika ingilosi yathi yini nihlupheke kangaka ngoba ubaba Ilangu ukhona. Nina uyanithanda ubaba mangicela imali kuye uzoninikeza. Kusho ingilosi.
I once told you that I was at my apartment in a flat and had no rent to pay. And the angel came to us and said to us, why are you with so much sorrow? For Shembe II loves you, so you must ask of him to assist you, and he will do that.
Sathatha 20 rand. Sahamba sakhupha phambi kwababa sathi baba sihluphekile asinamali asinalutho. Manje sicela ukuthi usiphe imali.
And we took on a 20 rands note and went before Shembe II and gave an offering and asked that we do not have any money. May you please give us some money.
Sakusho lokho ntambama kwathi ekseni ngithi ngiya emsebenzini ePietermaritzburg. Ngathi ngivula isikhwama ngathola sekuno 2,900 ngathola sekuno 2,000 esikhwameni ngazi noma
It
yeah,
was,
2,000 and something esikhwameni.
it was the evening when we had given that offering, and the next morning when I was headed out for work, I found that I had 2,000 rands in my bag.
Lo 2,000 useed njengoba usuthole ebank.
And this amount was sealed as is when you get it from the bank.
Ngahamba ngiya emsebenzini ngiso excited ngale mali le.
I went to work with such excitement about this money.
Ngathi ngisethi emsebenzini umkhokheli wangi ushayela ucingo wathi hayi buya kuzenzeke izinto.
And when I was at work, the counselor called me and said that I should come back. Amazing things are happening here.
Ngathatha imoto ngabuyela emuva akumuntu wayezongibuza ngoba ngangudala.
I took on my car and went back, and nobody would question me because I was the director.
Ngathi mangifika wathi umkhokheli naku sekwenzekile. Ngithe ngilapha wafika uhlaleleni wabuza ukuthi sitholile imali. Ngathi sitholile.
And she said that the angel came, Hlaleleni came and asked her if we had gotten the money, and she responded by saying that yes, we did.
Wathi bekumalini washo umkhokheli ayisithi ngilosi no ibingaphelele khona enye imali okuthunywa abantu kuba beyilethe lapha nibabona ngani labo bantu.
And she asked how much was it, and the counselor told her and said that, and then she said that it was not the full amount. There is also an amount that should have been brought here by people who were sent to bring it.
Wathi umkhokheli akaze kufike bantu lapha kodwa engikutholile ngibone ingilo ngifike lapha edining room kunenyoni ethe mazingibona zabaleka zangena bedroom ngathi ngiyayilandela ngibona iphuma ngefastela kodwa ifastela livalile.
And she said that what I found was that there were two birds at the dining area which I followed when they flew to the bedroom. And when I got there, they flew out of the bedroom, but the window was closed.
Yathi ngilosi bengazi inyoni la bekungabantu awuyobheka ebedroom ukuthi ayikho imali ozoyithola khona.
And the angel said that those were not birds, those were people. Go to the bedroom and check if there is no amount you'll find there.
Uthe uma umkhokheli bedroom wathola sekuno 900 ophezu kombhede.
And when she went there, she found 900 rands on the bed.
Kwaba isimangaliso leso kithi.
It was miraculous to us.
Ngaleso sikhathi sasingakaqondi ukuthi le ngilosi isima kanjani.
At that time, we did not fully understand this angel.
Yayisithi ngilosi ninenhlanhla ngoba nithandwa ubabila. Uma nithandwa ubabila kuyafana nokuthi nithandwa uNkulunkulu ngoba ubaba ilanga akakho umuntu omunye ongamphikisa ezulwini.
And the angel said that you are fortunate because you are loved by Shembe the second. And if you are loved by Shembe the second, it is equivalent to being loved by God. For in heaven there is nobody who can dispute what Shembe the second has announced.
Kodwa ngikuqondisa ayishongo ingilosi ukuthi uShembe uNkulunkulu. Yathi kuyafana ngoba uShembe mkhulu ezulwini. Ayishongo ukuthi uNkulunkulu.
But the angel did not say that Shembe is God. He said that it is equivalent. For Shembe is great in heaven, but he did not say that Shembe is God.
Ngelinye ilanga ngathi ngibuya kwaZulu lapha eUltra City eduze kwaseStenga. Kwavele kwawa isikhwama sami. Sonke isikhwama esiphethe imali namakhadi nakonke sawa lapha eUltra City. Kanti ngisuka nje ngemoto sesiwa lapha phansi.
At one instance when I was coming from KwaZulu, my wallet which had money and all my cards fell on the floor whilst I was getting into the car.
Sathi discover sesilapha ekhaya lapha kade kunomuzi khona kamfundisi ukuthi isikhwama silahlekile nemali yonke namakhadi onke.
And we discovered that our money and our cards were lost when we had arrived at the house of the reverend that we lived in.
Sathi uma ngabe sesithi silungiselela ukuthi siyovala amakhadi ethu kwaqhamuka ucingo lathi isikhwama senu siphezulu kwefence. Kuwo lo mzi enhleleni.
Just as we were preparing to go to the banks to cancel our cards, we received a phone call, and the person told us that the bag wallet that we are looking for is on the fence at the house you are living in.
Na ngempela sahamba sasifica isikhwama sihleli nje na esigcobeni sefence la kodwa isikhwama silahleke eUltra City.
And indeed, when we went out, we found the wallet placed on a pole near the fence, but we had lost it at Ultra City near Stenga.
Yayisiqhamuka ingilosi ithi lesi sikhwama ngisibambe sesithatha umfana ehamba naso ngamephuca so.
And the angel said that I took this bag from a young lad who had picked it up.
Ngikhuluma ngokuthi ukuthandwa uNkulunkulu kunjani kuma kanjani.
I'm explaining to you how it is to be loved by God.
Ziningabi igameko engase ngitshele ezisehlele thina engaze zehlele umuntu ngokuthi njena singaphansi kwaJehova.
There are many incidences that we have experienced which I have not told you about, which have never been experienced by anyone, but we have experienced them just because we are under Yahweh.
Engikushoyo ke ukuthi masizethembe.
What I'm saying is that we should believe in ourselves.
Deuteronomy 28 verse 61 to 62 nanga amazwi kaNkulunkulu.
In the book of Deuteronomy 28, verses 61 to 62, these are the words of God.
Konke ukugula nazo zonke izifo okungalotshiwe encwadini yalomthetho lokho uJehova uyakukwenza phezukwakho uze ubhujiswe.
Yahweh will also bring on you every kind of sickness and disaster not recorded in this book of the law until you are destroyed.
Niyakushiwa nibe ingcosana ingani nani ngangezinganye zezulu ngobuningi.
You who were as numerous as the stars in the sky will be left but few in number, because you do not obey the Lord your God.
Ngokuba awulilalelanga izwi kaJehova uNkulunkulu wakho.
Because you do not obey the Lord your God.
Ngakho ke uNkulunkulu ushilo ukuthi uyosibulala ngezifo size sisale sibe ingcosana ukushilo lokho uNkulunkulu.
So God did say that he will destroy us through diseases until we are left few in number.
Ngakho ke akakho umuntu ongasho ukuthi lesi sifo esikhona asikho ukufakaza okufana nalokho okubhalwe la.
So nobody could stand and say that this pandemic is not here to testify that what God pronounced has come to manifestation.
Ngoba kuze kube manje akakho wazi ukuthi lesi sifo siqhamuke kanjani.
Because until this very day nobody knows how this pandemic came about.
Uma lesi sifo ngathiwa ngempela aselaphike singafa sonke.
If it were to be said that this disease cannot be cured, then we are all going to die.
Wazi ngani noma wena ubalwe kulaba abazokufa noma ubalwe kulaba abayingcosana abazophila?
So how do you know that you have been counted amongst those who are going to die or those who are going to be left few in number?
Awukwazi ukwazi lokho.
You cannot know that.
Kodwa ngokukholwa ungaba nalo ithemba ukuthi wena ule group yabayingcosana abazophila ngoba uNkulunkulu usesibonisile ukuthi ukhona kithi singaphila.
But through faith you can know that you are going to be counted amongst the few who are going to live, because God has said that he will save some.
Namhlanje na wonke umhlaba usangene ngama vaccination.
Today the entire world is going crazy over vaccinations.
uNkulunkulu wabo nethemba labo ivaccination.
Their God and their trust is in the vaccination.
Kodwa thina ukuthi kukhona ivaccination noma ayikho asinendaba ngoba ithemba lethu likuNkulunkulu.
Amen.
But to us, whether there is a vaccine or no vaccine, we do not care, for our faith is in God.
Angeke ngisho ngithi uma kufika lesi sikhathi hambani nojova noma ningejove kusekuthandeni kwakho. Kodwa thina usesitshelile uNkulunkulu ukuthi singaphila ngisho ngabe singayitholanga ivaccine thina singaphila.
Amen.
I will not say to you that you should go to be vaccinated or not. It will be up to a person's decision. But God has shown us that we can live even though there is no vaccine.
Ngakho ke umuntu nomuntu akakholwe ukuthi akazukufa.
Therefore, each and every person should believe that they will not die.
Ngehlabelele isihlabelelo
Let us sing the 83rd hymn.
Sindisiwe thina Siyabonga. Amen. Asibheke enkosini. Siyabonga baba umsa wakho nothando lakho. Wena Nkosi osigcinile ngaleli sabatha lakho wasimema kuba sizilwe sizokudumisa. Cela Nkosi ukudumisa kwethu kwamukeleke ezulwini. Uvikele Nkosi labantwana bakhe esifeni Nkosi COVID-19. Engababikho Nkosi umuntu kuso esimbulalayo. Usivikele sonke Nkosi kulonyaka ka-2021. Ithemba lethu asihlale kuwe. Elakho Nkosi igama manje ephathe. Amen.